The LA Galaxy drop points again, this time to CF Montreal in a 2-2 draw. Man, I didn't get to catch this one live, so I'm doing a post-match reaction way post, and I just watched a replay, so it's fresh for me, but ultimately not as fresh as it would be if I was watching the game live, so probably not much of a rant here, more of a timid 5 things. Let's jump into it with lesson number 1, which is we are Red Card FC. 6 red cards on the year. It's tied for most in Major League Soccer. 3 straight matches with red cards has to be some form of record. I don't know. Someone fact check me there. But to have red cards in 3 straight matches from 3 different players is fucking crazy. Talk about shooting yourself in the foot. From a standpoint of whether you want to look at this player-wise or you want to look at it from a coaching standpoint. If you are getting the most red cards in the league, systemically, that is a huge issue that is not going away for the LA Galaxy. It started with Garces, it went to Sanabria, and now it was probably the most important of those 3 players being JT, who has been very good since claiming the starter spot in that moment, in that situation, up to 2-1, and then to come out, be late against a striker who's not very pacey, to miss it, to get that one wrong, it just killed the Galaxy. In a game that they ultimately should have gone on to win regardless, going down a man and having to go against that for 3 straight games when you're playing. I mean, look, these guys are tired. This was a tough stretch of games in terms of, Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday kind of split. A long road trip. You're tired. Your team's gassed already. All you needed to do in that moment was see out a victory. Systemically, with the counterattacking stuff and us playing off the back foot, to get beat that easy and behind, and JT have to make that decision is poor. That's just a tactics thing. You're up 2-1 for me. I think, especially away from home, I would have liked to see the Galaxy drop off a little bit more. But ultimately, look, JT makes a wrong decision, and it costs the Galaxy 2 points. Simply put, the last 2 games with the red cards, the LA Galaxy have had to fight uphill, and in the last game, they were able to get over the hump. It was very ballsy. It was almost heroic to a certain extent. And JT was a big reason why they were able to get 3 points. And in this one, where the Galaxy should have been, 2 wins in the last 2, they are now right back to where we were before, which is they're just not winning enough games consistently in a row. And partially it's because the players on the pitch are shooting us in the foot. You can't get these red cards, and especially not in that moment. I would have much rather him just had the one-on-one opportunity and JT had just been a little bit more late. Or, you have to commit to something, and JT just got it wrong. And from the standpoint of, I don't trust Mikovic to be a good enough goalkeeper for consistently enough time. Rough, man. Rough. And like I said, it was different. Where the other 2 games, it was already 1-1 or it was 1-0, and we were already chasing the game to try to get 3 points or to even just claw back into a draw. This one, we had the lead. We were playing with the lead. We'd already made that comeback. They were already up 1-0. We had come back, made it 2-1, and then that's just shotgun to the face level stuff, and it's really disappointing. It's really disappointing because, like I said, the Galaxy should have 2 wins in a row here, and we don't. And that's lesson number 1. Moving on to lesson number 2, class is permanent. Maya Yoshida is fucking awesome, isn't he? And for the amount of shit that he has gotten through the last 2 seasons on stuff that just hasn't remotely been his fault, the LA Galaxy have become a better team since he's returned from the World Cup break and he's become a starter. Our defense has been better. He's now chipping in with goals. That goal in particular is the most ridiculous goal for a center back to do it. I don't care if you want to call it lucky. I don't care if you want to say it was like just a pure luck goal. No, that's class. And that's the whole thing with Maya Yoshida, and that's what we've been trying to say on the podcast, is class is permanent. There's a reason why Marco Roy still looks good. It's the reason that Maya has looked good since the championship season on. And no matter where his legs are at, he just is an incredibly intelligent player. He's our captain. He's honestly the thing I think is driving us currently through this period. There's a standard with him, and look, we should have had 3 points, and he should have had a game-winning goal. Simply put, that's how it should have been. And like I said, we've been a better team since Maya stepped back in. I think he just deserves his praise as being one of the Galaxy's best players. I think it's more of a sentiment to where the club is at when you have to still rely on a Maya Yoshida or a Marco Royce, but look, he's been the best pairing next to Glesnes, I think, potentially all season, minus maybe Hack, but we physically can't play Hack there. So Yoshida's just been really good, really solid, really special goal. The reaction that everybody had around him just shows you just how much they love Maya and what impact he has on the club right now and as a whole. Just a leader and a general that ultimately if the Galaxy are going to make a playoff push here or are going to have success in a playoff run, it'll be on the back of Glesnes and Yoshida as a pairing, I think. And we'll just have to wait and see how the rest of the team kind of transforms. But shout out to Maya. Just like I said, lesson number 2 is class is permanent. And on the flip side of that, lesson number 3 is the youth will never fail you. That is just my personal opinion. And from a fan perspective, the one thing that you can't do with youth players is you can't like essentially shit on them. As weirdly as it sounds, you can be critical and you can tell a player is like not playing well, or you can say they just weren't ready for the moment. But Rúben Ramos gets his first goal for the LA Galaxy, I think in league play. I could be wrong there again. Someone fact check me. But ultimately, through since the stretch of coming back from the World Cup break, the three of the most impressive players for the LA Galaxy has been Harbour Miller. Now I would say Rúben Ramos with this goal, and El Garisma. I'm terrible at pronunciations, but that's just my thing. And this is what's been really pissing me off over the last 2 seasons is the LA Galaxy have had a productive youth system that have had players move on and go to other teams and make their mark and ultimately get these big moves, but we haven't seen that translate to our club. We haven't seen that leap for these Ventura kids or the guys just right underneath the starters get a chance to prove themselves. And Rúben Ramos, who had a very productive CONCACAF tournament, comes in and immediately scores a goal. And the only reason he played in this one is because Marco was out, and C.O.C apparently isn't fit enough to play full 90s yet, and so Ruben gets his chance and he absolutely takes advantage of it. And this is a guy that when he played against Columbus earlier in the season, it wasn't like he wasn't ready, it felt like. But honestly, I would just say it's down to the manager. If you put players in advantageous positions like they did with this one, which is he's got Paint and Taylor and Kyogo around him, eventually that will have some fruits to its labor. And I think Rúben Ramos has been one of those players that has built his career with the LA Galaxy and has gotten better every single season, but just hasn't gotten the minutes. And you're starting to see this with Harbour Miller too. Like every single game, these guys improve because that's part of it. You grow with minutes, and they're going to have mistakes. I'm not saying that Rúben Ramos was perfect in this one, or I'm not going to say that Harbour Miller has been perfect in every game, but you can tell that playing minutes, getting that experience, that match sharpness, and everything under their belt is just a huge plus for the LA Galaxy. And in a league where you're salary capped and you don't have the luxury to pay everybody whatever the fuck you want, having youth players that can fill in the voids and can give you that super cheap salary but give you exponential product on the field. Look, the LA Galaxy haven't had backup wingers since before Peck and Paintsel, and now with Rúben Ramos they should be feeling like maybe we have some youth talent going forward. And El Garisma, the same thing. Like, they've just impressed me, and I think from a standpoint of the LA Galaxy aren't good enough to not be playing these guys. They need to be getting minutes, and they need to be able to either come off the bench or get a start here occasionally. Like, Montreal is not a good team. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but they're not a good team. So for the LA Galaxy, you got to start playing these guys. You got to start giving them minutes. Got to give them feelers. Last week I was upset that Rindov didn't play. I'm still upset that he hasn't played. And Garces, after a red card, just immediately got back into the first team again. Like, fucking hell. Problem for another day. But in general, the youth will never let you down, and that is lesson number 3. Lesson number 4, and I want to tie them together, and I might still here, and I'm going to. Lesson number 4 is Robert Taylor and C.O.C Lozano. Right now, if I had told you through their stretch of coming into the team who has played at a DP level and who hasn't, who would you say? Especially over the last 2 or 3 games here, the answer is Robert Taylor has played like the designated player and C.O.C Lozano hasn't. And whether that's fair or not for C.O.C, it's not, right? This was a big point of why I was so upset with the transfer in general. He's not ready. He's not ready for these minutes. He's not ready to be that guy. He's not supposed to be the savior. He shouldn't be the savior. But Will Kuntz and Greg Vanney came together and decided early, with still time in the window, that they were going to bring in C.O.C. And look, he had a chance to win this game in a one-on-one opportunity that he should absolutely be bearing. And I bet you that if last season he'd gotten that opportunity with San Diego, he would have buried it. But you know what the issue is? He hasn't played in 9 months. He isn't match sharp. His instincts aren't correct. He hasn't been able to play a full 90. He's gassed after 1 week of football here with the Galaxy. And ultimately, he gets a chance to win the game and be the hero, and C.O.C wasn't. He takes an extra touch. It's too long. It's too heavy. The goalkeeper comes out, and the Galaxy don't come away with 3 points. The margins are thin in this sport, and especially in MLS with the salary cap and the implications of that, the margins become even thinner. And when I am looking at our savior DP, the guy that was supposed to come in and help us build a potential playoff run, and in a 3-game stretch where I thought it was almost critical that the Galaxy picked up 9 points, Chucky Lozano had a chance to go back-to-back games with wins and under red cards, and he didn't take a chance. And in the 3 games that he's played so far, has anyone seen anything special? The reaction that I've seen online and the people that have responded to his games, I think are seeing his game maybe in a higher light than I have, and I think that's just basically down to the fact that before Taylor even came in, we've been playing a right back at left wing. Or, Paintsel hasn't been very good on the left wing, and so we're trying to essentially be okay with lower expectations of what he's playing at. His playing level hasn't been good, but also, I can't say that's his fault. This is a guy that is essentially a charity case for both teams. For Chucky, he gets a second chance at the MLS thing, and he's got a chance to potentially stake a claim here with the Galaxy and keep his starting spot and be the DP for the future. I heavily disagree with the idea behind that, but he's got a chance there too, and he's even said so. He's like, I'm so thankful that the Galaxy are giving me a chance. And on the flip side, the Galaxy get a charity case because it's essentially like a write-off, where people are saying it's a low-risk, high-reward type of situation. Well, with that, those low-risk, high-reward situations, Chucky Lozano had a low-risk, high-chance probability in this game, and he missed. But when you are playing the gambling odds, when you are trying to play it safe in that regard, where you're like, if it works out, it works out, it doesn't, it doesn't, you see the fruits of its labor. And in this one, and in the games past, has Chucky been a factor? And he hasn't. And like I said, I can't blame him. I can't blame Chucky Lozano because he's not match fit. Like I say, he hasn't played in 9 months. But I also can blame him because there's a reason he wasn't playing for 9 months. And I can blame the Galaxy because there was definitely other players in the market. We just saw Dejan Joveljic sign with Seattle. Which is just frustrating in a different right. And it's righting wrongs, just decision making. And so to kind of switch focus away from Chucky, because like I said, I don't necessarily blame him for everything, and it's not entirely his fault. On the flip side, Robert Taylor's been really good for the quote-unquote unimpactful winger. This is a player that if he plays like this and he has that level and he's still at the fitness levels and all that stuff, and he can kind of give you minutes and be healthy, I would keep him around for next season. I think he's been a spark plug. His ability to get the ball deep and drive with it has been really impressive. He created the first goal for Rúben Ramos from the Kyogo shot. I just think he's been really good, especially in those situations and being down a man. He's just getting the ball, collecting it deep, and going the distance. And the only issue with Robert Taylor, he's probably not fit enough at this point in his career to be playing full 90s and being productive the whole time. So that's a perfect bench player at probably his salary. And so I think he gets kudos for just playing really good. And I was a little concerned where he was at the beginning, but he's one of those players where I think on a good team, he can be a really good backup. And on a bad team, he just doesn't have much utilization. And if I was to have the ability to bring him back for next season right now, I'd probably say yes. We'll have to see how it develops over the rest of the window. But yeah, good on Robert Taylor. Need more from Chucky, unfortunately. That's just how this game works. You're a DP. We need you to be a DP. And finally, lesson number 5. This was 2 points dropped for the LA Galaxy and not a point gained. I don't care how you want to spin this. The red card, still getting out with the point, scraping by. No. The Galaxy did all the hard work. They got back into this game. JT shot them in the foot. And instead of being on a 2-game winning streak, we go back to square one where the Galaxy haven't been able to string wins together. They haven't been able to build momentum. This is a momentum killer. It is. And it makes that game against San Diego on the road just that much more important. And that's where the season has been. Every time the Galaxy feel like they're pushing and they're maybe getting that sign of life, they're turning that switch, maybe it's the turning point. It hasn't been. And it hasn't been. And it feels like it never will be. They go on the road against the San Diego team that just won 3-0. Right? So now they're the team that's playing with momentum since they moved off Chucky. Right? They don't have that weight on them anymore, and so they've been playing a little more free. They played well. And they just beat a good team in Colorado 3-0. And now the Galaxy, in a pivotal 6-pointer, are not going in with the momentum, and we'll see if Sergio Roberto is able to give us minutes. I'd have to assume that he'd have to come off the bench if he's going to play. We're going to see with the Chucky stuff. We'll cover that on the podcast. I'll get into the San Diego game a little later. But ultimately, let's see where the Galaxy sit, right? It's currently in the standings. The Galaxy sit in 12th, San Diego sit in 11th. But if the Galaxy had pulled off the win here, they would have been at 28 points, would have been tied for 7th place with Colorado. Obviously, goal difference, they would have been all messed up, but margins are this thin, and the Western Conference is still open, which means it's not over, but how much nicer would it have been? And how many times have we done that this season where it's like, if the Galaxy had just won 2 or 3 games, well, the Galaxy haven't. And until they do, we can't say that they're building anything. And that sucks. And like I said, 2 points dropped, not 1 point gained. We're too late in the season with the Galaxy already playing more games than everybody else to be counting like that. They got to start winning fucking games, and they got to start stringing them together. Play has been better-ish, I would say, through the additions and getting there, but you got to start stacking wins, and you got to do it soon. But I don't got enough left to say. Like I said, I'm sorry for getting this out a little later. Busy day yesterday, but a good one for me, and not so good for the Galaxy. You guys have been incredible. We just passed 900. Incredible milestone for us, and we're super thankful here at the C.O.C. Network. If you like this content and you're an MLS fan or you're an LA Galaxy fan and you want to share this stuff with your friends, go ahead and do that. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell me how you're feeling about this match and the LA Galaxy in general. Are you excited? Are you nervous? Are you upset? Let me know in the comments. But I guess I'll leave it there. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.